male and there's female. I'm a former laboratory scientist. Females XX, males are XY, and I think that it's a slippery slope. I'm concerned that, I looked up to my teachers. They're my mentors. I was taught to respect my teachers. And we have to be very, very careful where we're going here with this whole thing. If you look at statistics in the United States of America, 18 years old to 64, 0.7% would say they were transgendered, and 65 and over, 0.5. So we have to be very careful where we're leading our students. I'm just really concerned about that. There's just a push, a movement that I think we shouldn't have this in the schools. And again, I'm not going to talk about test scores tonight, but there's just other things. We need to keep sex out of school, and that's actually that's kind of a little far for me. So I just want us to all be aware of what we're doing here. I don't know what the policy is at Jackson High. I've never seen it or anything like that, and I'm not even pointing fingers, but I just want everyone to be real aware of that. So, and thank you for all of everything you do. I appreciate it. Totally appreciate what you did for my kids, and they're very successful. And I actually wanted to just say something. My son actually started a music career because he was given the opportunity to be in drama, and he actually was a really good singer, and he wouldn't have known that if he wasn't here at Jackson High. So I love that we do arts. I love that there's a French teacher. I love that. And so you're just doing a great job, and so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying something. So thank you for listening to me tonight.
Thank you. Next up is Amy Gish.
For decades, I was trained as a teacher to understand the differences in culture so I could better meet the needs of my students. During the July school board meeting, board trustee Keisha Hamilton remarked why she was voting no on the adoption of the new valedictorian criteria. Keisha has a strong background in diversity, equity, and inclusion. She works closely with people from a variety of cultures, and she's an intelligent Black woman who has been, by several people in this room, misjudged and misunderstood. Take the time to talk with her, and you'll understand just what I'm talking about. Her knowledge is not being utilized, only criticized. A great example came from board members who ignorantly spoke against a comment made by Keisha when she said that valedictorian criteria is racist. A small group of community members even ignorantly laughed out loud. One must have a discussion about culture when talking race. Within each race are many cultures with traditions, beliefs, and values that may make their way into the classroom. When I was teaching, I had a Latino student who was so bright, he caught my attention with his ideas, his thinking, his work. He could have been a valedictorian, but his culture puts his family first. And when his mother was dying of cancer, the family granted her wish to die at home. That meant family members took turns to stay at home and care for Mom, my student included. So he ended up being absent every third or fourth school day, depending on how their schedule worked out. Dad needed to keep working as he was the sole income and health insurance provider at the time. So life was very stressful for the family. Dad cried on the phone when we did our check-ins. I knew he was struggling to keep things together. My student cried often when he was at school because, as he would tell me, he could not stop thinking about Mom. When Mom died, they had her transported back to their native homeland, where they buried her. That student of mine returned to school a few weeks later and was relieved to see everyone. Under the new valedictorian guidelines, that young man, should he have wanted to, would not have been able to retake any of his classes for a better grade. Such a shame. That school year, 4 of my students experienced the death of a parent. One student lost both parents. Life happens. Our cultures define in many ways how things are done. Keisha understands this, thus her comment. I don't speak for her, I'm speaking for myself. Those who commented so ignorantly and laughed so ignorantly do not understand this. They are the true embarrassment to our families in this community. You don't even understand them. Apparently, you don't want to. Adopting children from a different race or culture than your own doesn't mean you understand their native culture. Having the same skin color doesn't mean anything either. You can have the same skin color, but have different cultural backgrounds. If you were raised with native cultural teachings, that's what one needs to be mindful of. If you're learning and understanding how this works, and it sounds like a lot of work, it is. That's what good teachers do. That's what good people do. That's what good board members do. They learn about who they're working with, who they're representing or supposed to be representing, and meet them where they are, and find out what the needs are of one's culture that may present itself in the classroom. The ignorant call this excuses. I taught at the high school. I know administrators call for exceptions to rules. Let's see who gets that first under the table exception. The white athlete whose parents always contribute to the silent raffle for the ambassador's dinner? You know, they're big supporters of the district. Let's do it for them. So laugh all you want. Let's see how much laughing you do when those students board a school bus in the morning with Northwest Schools written on the side, or when they receive scholarships to transfer to a local private school. Remember that single father of 5 who spoke a few months ago? He drives his 5 children a half hour away from here to attend another school district, and he lives down the street from Jackson High School. Remember that student accompanied by her parent who spoke before you about the valedictorian criteria? She has already learned that this system operates better depending on who your parents are and who you know. Remember that Jackson High alum who recently spoke about the low test scores she's disappointed with? I wonder if the disenfranchised know that they are disenfranchised and let it show in their test scores. Why try if I don't matter to you? Students know that low test scores don't equate to their success in life. They know how to send a message. You fail me, I fail you. So keep on laughing, keep on commenting, keep on chasing people away. If your goal is to disenfranchise those who don't share the same culture as you, you're doing a fantastic job. You just can't figure out how to fix years-long problems in the district.
I'm sorry, Amy, your time is up.
You are failing us.
Thank you. Next up is Stephanie Sizik.
Members of the Board 5, Superintendent Beal, I'm Stephanie Sizik, I think you know that, but retired Spanish teacher from Jackson High School. Only tonight, I'm speaking as a citizen. And more than that, I am speaking because I am a mother, and Joanna Perkin is my daughter, and Amy Gish is my friend. I'm aware that both Amy and Joanna have tried to resolve matters involving the superintendent by following the JEA contract and school board policies while working for the school district. Unfortunately, their requests for resolution went unresolved or just ignored. This is while they were working as teachers. And Amy was union president. Thank you. Since March of this calendar year, following the incident reported by board trustee Keisha Hamilton, many citizens, including Joanna and Amy, have spoken before you people, reporting firsthand accounts of unbecoming, unprofessional, and disturbing behavior by the superintendent. With the exception of the July board meeting, I've listened to many citizens, Joanna and Amy included, speak to the nature of their complaints and the facts giving rise to it. I've heard them state with regard to that which is alleged that Joanna and Amy have been affected adversely. I've heard them clearly speak about the reasons why this matter was not able to be resolved with the superintendent and in some cases his designee, and heard them state the action or actions in which Joanna and Amy wish were taken and the reasons why they felt that way. I know firsthand that the school district's attorney who represents you folks and represents the superintendent has put in writing that you're advised not to communicate with Joanna and Amy. I find that to go against your duties as a school board member. Your oath of office and your own school board policies. I wonder why you've chosen to single out Joanna and Amy by misleading the public about them. You and the superintendent have caused many among the community to believe that they've had low evaluations, which is not true. Shall I say highly effective? That's what they got. Just the opposite. That they were disgruntled employees, which is not true. Ask their co-workers, ask their past students, where they've both of them gone above and beyond their jobs, caring about kids. That's what they care about. And that they're trying to assassinate the superintendent's character, which is not true. Statements of fact, shared in good faith, followed with requests for a third neutral party to investigate, has been their course all along, which means they've been following board policy. But for some reason in this school district, under this superintendent, those who follow the rules get treated like troublemakers. Hey, troublemakers who stand for students' rights and their protection according to policy, so that all students may have a safe and quality education. That's what they care about. They're trying to enforce the policies. Perhaps you need to stop listening to your attorney and start following your own rules, your own policies. Food for thought.
Thank you. Next up is Joanna Perkin.
Well, I'll just accommodate this. You'll appreciate my brevity tonight. I'm usually quite verbose. I'm Joanna Perkin, as you already know, retired English teacher of over 20 years, English chair, building committee chair. I've spoken at the last 6 board meetings and disclosed many disturbing, despicable, and utterly reprehensible things happening within Jackson Public Schools regarding incessant sexual abuse, retaliation, harassment, etc., all without accountability or discipline. Those things have yet to be addressed, vetted, looked into. Inquiries continue to be made, and they continue to go unanswered. Please be clear that although you, the board, 5, have been given a directive not to communicate with Amy and me, we find it necessary to be clear that these things are still of great concern and to follow up on the terminal pay leave matter with you. Teachers, and regarding that issue, teachers are required to sign a contract that reads like a non-disclosure agreement in order to receive their terminal pay, which begs the question, what do you have to hide? This contract, in essence, forces teachers to sign their rights away in order to receive what their retirement pay from the district. In other words, sign the contract and we will pay you your benefit. I think it goes without saying that's illegal to have someone sign a contract under coercion or duress. The JEIA should be filing a union grievance to protect the rights of teachers for requiring them to sign a contract in order to receive a benefit already negotiated for them covered by the collective bargaining agreement. In other words, you don't have to sign a contract in order to receive something that's already been solidified within that contract. Ever since 2019 and 2020, respectively, terminal pay has been used to bully and intimidate Amy and myself. In fact, it was not until lawyers got involved that we were able, just as of late 2022, literally just within the past week or two, to get to the road of resolution. And for several years, we have had this terminal pay held over our heads and didn't even have the option of signing the contract. So what I just said, mentioned that teachers have to do, we weren't even given that opportunity. And then once we were, several years later, we're now forced to sign, or the district attempted to coerce us into signing this non-disclosure, which signs our rights away, to receive what the contract already clearly states. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Oops. Okay, we are on number 8, action items. So the first one is 22-23-17, and it's the Neola Volume 36, number 2, Board Policy Update, second reading adoption. Mr. Beal.
Thank you very much. Most of this is boilerplate stuff. Again, we saw these last month. The first batch deal with staff dress and grooming. You see that in policy 1616 for administration, 3216 for professional staff, 4216 for support staff, and 5511 for our students. You also see policy 6110, which deals specifically with grant funds and the requirements associated with expensing grant funds from the federal government. So this is not anything that we get to say anything about. The language is 100% the requirement from the federal government in order for us to expense these grant funds. And 6114 is more grant funding. So most of what we're dealing with here is grant funding. 6325 is the procurement from federal grant funds. So you kind of sense the theme here. So really our policies this time around center around just a couple of issues: the dress code and the expenses of federal funds. With that being said, it would be the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the board policies revisions as presented.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I would entertain a motion for adoption of the Volume 36, number 2, policy updates as presented. Okay, thank you. Libby? Oops. Pam, are you? Yes. Okay, Libby and Pam, thank you. Any deliberation? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, next line item is 22-23-18, and it's the MASB 2022 Delegate Assembly. Jeff.
Excuse me. So we have representation on the MASB delegate, and that assembly meets in November at their statewide conference. So I would encourage you to attend, but this board needs to nominate and appoint someone to serve in that capacity and cast the vote for JPS in that regard. So if you are planning to attend, you might want to put your name forward to cast that vote. I think we have two. All right, so I believe Shalonda and Keisha are both going. Ms. Hunt, you're going, is that, all right? So it looks like we have two delegates. I guess I would put this forth that if the board supports it, it makes great sense to nominate and select those, both Keisha and Shalonda. Thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion for the board to certify Shalonda Hunt and Keisha Hamilton as delegates for the MASB conference as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Libby, were you the second? Okay. Any deliberation? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, next line item is 22-23-19, and that is teacher pay teacher subscription. Marcus.
All right, so Teachers Pay Teachers is a resource subscription, website subscription service that JPS teachers currently use out of their own pocket for resources to help in planning activities and such for their classroom. The district has decided to have a district-wide subscription for this service for teachers to use at no cost to them. We did present this at the finance facility meeting a couple of weeks ago. So again, this will allow teachers to access activities and things to use in their classrooms. The annual cost, $43,500, will come out of the general fund. So we would recommend approval of this subscription tonight.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval of the teachers pay teachers subscription in the amount of $43,500 as presented. Thank you, Libby. Thank you, Pam. Any deliberation? Okay, all those in favor?
I have one question. Yep, just one question. What's the process? What would the process be for teachers to access those funds?
The way that it's set up, each teacher has a certain number of credits, basically, that they could use for that service. And so we can also look at it and see, sometimes people, we'll have people that are not interested in using it at all, so we'll have additional credits for those people that are wild about it. But to start with, we'll be sort of dividing those up evenly among our staff members. But it's a wonderful resource. It's activities that are developed by other teachers. And so it's wonderful that sometimes, with our series, the different series that we have already selected for the district, sometimes the first time lesson doesn't catch everybody. And so you're looking for another way to present it. So having something like this in your back pocket is really helpful.
One last question. Is there a possibility that a teacher could cap out and no longer have access to these funds?
I think that we would be able to, I really do think that we're going to have people that just don't use it. So, I think that we'll have additional credits that we'll be able to spread out to others as needed.
Thank you.
Okay, any other deliberation? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Oops. Next line item is 22-23-20, and it's the Dibble playground equipment. Marcus.
All right, this is the first of two playground updates we have tonight. So the playground at Dibble was one that was not updated through the bond process, and in our walks we have some pieces there that are either unsafe or uninsurable as we go through and inspect our playgrounds each year. So we reached out and received a quote for $163,190, which at this time would come from the general fund, and potentially at the end of the bond, if there are funds left, then we can transfer that expense to the bond fund at that time. We also reviewed this item at the finance meeting a couple of weeks ago, so this time we would recommend approval of the Dibble playground updates.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval of the Dibble playground equipment in the amount of $163,190 as presented. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Aaron. Any deliberation?
One question. Are any of the items on the playground able to be salvaged? Are we keeping anything, or is it a full renovation?
We are keeping some of the items there. There's a few items that we have taken out or making safe until we can do this playground update, but there's two halves. So on one half of the playground, I think we're replacing the big structure, and then we're adding a few stations, so we're adding a few pieces too, so some additional pieces, and just reconfiguring how it all lays out. And the principal got with Ms. Kuhn, went through the playground with her staff to kind of determine what kids are using, what kids are liking, so we can kind of go through this update process.
Okay, any other deliberation? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next line item is 22-23-21. It's the Montessori playground equipment. Marcus.
All right, so same thing. We do have a structure that is not safe and a couple of other ones that we have, smaller ones that we've removed. So again, we've gone through with the principal and their staff to kind of see again what is being used, what is liked. Montessori is, if you're aware of it, is a real big open space there. So at this one, we're actually adding a lot more to it in addition to replacing two of the two larger structures that are currently there. So again, we would ask to approve this one in the amount of $238,694. And again, it was also reviewed a couple of weeks ago at the facility meeting.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval of the Montessori playground equipment in the amount of $238,694 as presented.
Support.
Thank you, Libby. Thank you, Shalonda. Any deliberation? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next line item is 22-23-22, Energy Advisory Resolution. Marcus.
All right, so, and this, we've talked about this company, Guaranteed Clean Energy, a little bit in the past. Again, they've helped us in the solar project that we recently approved earlier this spring and summer. GCE is an energy advising company. They go through and they'll be coming through and doing an extensive audit of our district and coming to us with energy efficiencies, proposals, and ways to help fund those through grants and third-party funding sources and things of that nature. They also helped us. Today we submitted our application for the electric vehicle clean bus grant. So just on a side note, we've applied to convert up to 20 of our current older diesel buses to electric. And JPS is a priority district for funding, meaning that if awarded, we'll be able to replace those buses at just about no cost to us. And again, these buses are probably close to $400,000 a piece. So if we're approved, it could be over $8 million of funding. So that's the first part. And then going forward, they're going to, again, do this energy audit and come to us with proposals of energy efficiencies, air conditioning and HVAC throughout the district being one of them that, you know, we've kind of gone through some of our higher priorities that we would like to address. The resolution today is just to allow us to sign off on some of these proposals as they come, because with grant funding, we're going to have short timelines and things of that nature to not have to come to the board every time there's a new grant out or whatever.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I would entertain a motion for adoption of the Energy Advisory Resolution as presented. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Pam. Any deliberation? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next line item is 22-23-23, NWEA site license, K through 8. Marcus.
The district will be going forward and using NWEA for grades K through 8 this year. The annual license cost is $35,000 and will be paid for through the general fund. NWEA is a product that we have used in the past and was recommended from our testing committee, it's called. So at this time, we would recommend approval of the license quote in the amount of $35,000.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval of the license quote in the amount of $35,000 as presented. Thank you, Libby.
Support.
Thank you. Who is this? Shalonda, thank you. Any deliberation? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next line item is 22-23-24, Symphony Math license, and that's Marcus.
Symphony Math is an online math subscription service that the district has chosen to use at the elementary level. So the annual license cost is $39,230 and will be paid for from the general fund. So again, at this time, we would recommend approval of the district license in that amount of $39,230.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval of the license quote in the amount of $39,230 as presented. Okay. Thank you, Libby and Aaron. Any deliberation? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Last action item here is 22-23-25, and it's the maintenance van purchase. Marcus.
Last summer, the board approved purchasing a new maintenance truck and maintenance van. And we knew there was long lead times due to production delays and supply chain issues and things of that nature. We received the truck at the end of June this past year. However, we did not receive the van. And then Ford shut down that current year model production. They've reordered the van. It'll be a 2023 model year. However, due to inflation and other supply chain price increases, they are not able to guarantee the price that we were quoted last year. So we're coming back for approval of the new price of $44,874, which is an increase of about $15,000 over the approved amount last year.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the purchase of the maintenance van in the amount of $44,874 as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Shalonda and Aaron, any deliberation? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Phew. Okay, we are done with number 8, all of the action items, so we are on to number 9. So at this time, I would just open it up to any board comments.
I'll go ahead and start if that's okay. Just wanted to congratulate while they're here, Mrs. Davis and obviously Ms. Carter. I remember like yesterday hearing the superintendent kind of lay out the vision for your career path, and it's been nice to watch that, and so congrats to you and Ms. Davis. Your energy, I can already tell, like it's perfect for Parkside. Your charisma. And I think what you bring to the table, so happy about that as well. I had the opportunity to attend 2 events recently, both at the high school, the Voyage event, and I think Shalonda was going to probably tee in on that too, but the Voyage event last Wednesday for students, and then also the dinner for the freshman class last night. You know, we were reminiscing on, you know, when we came to Jackson High as freshmen. I want to say 97 was the first class that 9th graders came to Jackson High. So that overwhelming feeling of being nervous, but the staff and, you know, the secretaries and the volunteer folks that were there last night just really laid it out for the students and the parents. And I don't think anyone left that building last night with questions or concerns. So just hats off and job well done to all of the staff at the high school for that.
I'll piggyback off of that. Yes, so my daughter as well was heading into freshman at high school, and just the onboarding process has been quite an experience. The multiple contacts from the principal and making sure that the parents are involved. It means a lot. I know a lot of parents are saying we need that involvement, that touch point with teachers, faculty, and staff is happening. And I'm on the receiving end, but I also have heard from other parents that greatly appreciate that as well. So I'm excited to start this new year. So wishing everyone, all the teachers, the principals, everyone a good school year. We've put a lot into it, the kindergarten roundup, and trying to reduce as much anxiety as we possibly can for our parents. So welcome to 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, thank you. Libby, did you have?
Yes, I'd like to add to Aaron's comment about welcoming Jessica and Destiny on board on JPS staff. And well, you've been, Jessica, you've been on the staff for a long time, but I'm glad to see that you finally got this job as Human Resources Director.
Okay, Pam?
I had a couple things to say. Lunch buses everywhere. I have had more people tell me, I can't believe how many buses they have feeding these kids out here. And I was so proud that we're still doing that. And anyone who needs food is able to get it during the summer. And the second thing is, our own Christianetti was recognized by Jackson Magazine. If you get Jackson Magazine, it's a great picture of her. And a wonderful story about the difference she's made in JPS with her enthusiasm and her excitement and her contacts with everyone, and she's everywhere, and everybody knows who she is. But I thought that was really nice that Jackson Magazine focused on her and what she has done for our district. And the last thing is a personal thing. In 46 years, I have had somebody in school at Jackson Public Schools, and my last one graduated last June, and I don't have to get school stuff. 46 years, JPS.
Okay, thank you. I too would like to congrats Jessica and Destiny on your new positions, so that's very exciting. And there is just so much excitement around the district with, like we've said, with all the construction and everyone getting excited from the kindergartners to the, the freshmen. My daughter's at the middle school, she's very excited, son in kindergarten. So for my own kids, and then hearing from other parents too and seeing the Facebook post, it's just very exciting for the start of the year. And, Mr. Beal?
Yeah, actually, I really just want to talk very quickly on the open houses, and this is just a resource for our parents. If you have not enrolled your student yet, please do come down and see us. We'll help you get the paperwork. But if you come to our open houses and you follow us on social media, on Facebook, you can check our websites for next Monday, Tuesday, the various open houses at your elementary. Transportation will be there, food service will be there, school staff will be there to help take care of all of those anxiety issues so that you know where the bus is going to be, what time the bus is going to be, how to go through the lunch line. You know that those things are taken care of before the school year starts. With that being said, that's all I have for the month of August. It's going to be a great year, and I look forward to seeing all of you next week.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, number 10, there's no new business. Number 11, just the calendar. Like we've already said, August 22nd, all the staff is welcomed back at Jackson High School at 11:30, so that's very exciting. That's already Monday. And then our regular board meeting in September is the 20th, and that will be back here at Parkside at 5:45. So at this time, I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Shalonda. Any deliberation? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Have a good night.